Hello, my name is Brandon Frank, and today I'm going to be talking about the importance of social media use with regards to fitness and self-esteem, particularly in teens. So, to preface, following the sedentary COVID-19 lockdown, there was actually a steady increase of teens hitting the gym and posting such content on various short-form social media platforms. And of all the mixed trends that teens have followed in the last couple of years, it's easy to establish this one as one of the better, more productive ones. And it definitely is, but a closer look might actually show more downsides than initially realized. So, besides the obvious health benefits that come with hitting the gym and looking better, obviously it would help with self-esteem too, right? Well, kind of. That's the thing. Many teens that hit the gym are at the end that are active on social media are frequently shown to be just as, if not more, insecure than before. And this is important to recognize as it demonstrates a sort of cycle of impossible goals perpetuated by improper internet use. And that's the key right there, improper internet use, which we'll get a little bit more into later. But I find it important to state also, however, that the problem, of course, doesn't lie in hitting the gym. That's not the problem. But rather, it's the internet induced standards that teens in particular put upon themselves. Because seeing so many elite level fitfluencers, and yes, that's a real term, day after day can have a negative impression on youth who want to look like them. And soon we'll get into these implications and what we can do about them. So, our current perspective uh, is that this fitness trend is propagated mostly through the internet, more specifically, short form media platforms like TikTok and Instagram, as I touched on earlier. And the use of the hashtag Fitspiration actually prompted Austrian researchers to look into adolescents' perception of their own body image. And interestingly, the article states that, quote, none of the Fitspiration users, which are 0 out of 27, answered that his or her amount of muscle mass was okay, although all of them had an average or high FFMI, end quote. While this is just one study, it focuses on adolescents specifically with the hashtag Fitspiration on tag on their posts, which highlights a weird, ironic reality that perhaps uh, an improved view on one's own body image is not actually entirely gotten by getting that actual desired body image. There's an interesting tension between the true image and the perceived one. More specifically, how they're oftentimes not the same. And with internet usage only becoming more and more prevalent amongst teens, I think it's very important that we address this issue. So, to look at the causes a little bit, a study from Cornell University analyzed 46 different Reddit forums promoting and discussing either more ideally thin or ideally muscular body types. And both forums displayed overall dissatisfaction with their appearance. Not a big surprise there. But what's interesting is that the community members were overall being very supportive of one another. Now, this presents a weird problem since the negativity issues are not from actual attacks between the community members, but instead from members' own perceptions. Um, this is an extremely difficult problem to fix because if the problem was rooted in users, bullying one another, coming at one another, you could simply moderate in such a way to suspend such users' rude comments and posts. But how do you fix the problem rooted in a collective mindset? What are you going to do? You can't, take down people's posts for looking too good, of course. So we'll get more into that soon. But first, let's talk about the consequences of this. So the consequences of this trend have a number of complications for today's youth. And while, of course, a healthier generation with a more fitness oriented mindset is a good thing, particularly after 2020 when so many people became even more sedentary than they already were, it can be argued that people posting their fitness achievements on social media, especially when exaggerated or unrealistic, encourages many youths to compare themselves to what they see. And looking at a 2025 journal, which cites from a 2025 journal cites from varying studies that, end quote, engaging with photo related activities on Facebook, like updating profile picture or viewing friends' photos of themselves, was linked to an increased body dissatisfaction in adolescent girls aged 12 to 17, end quote. So, adolescents, being in the most impressionable era of their lives, are easily influenced by what they see, especially when they see it on a daily basis. It's very important. If this comparison of others to themselves continues unchecked, not only might it worsen the effects of social media, not not might, not only may it worsen the effects that social media already has on teenage mental health, but it may discourage many from hitting the gym altogether. So you have less confident teens and less hitting the gym. A complete lose-lose altogether. So here's my 2 cents on this whole thing. So social media is a strong factor in declining mental health in teens, as has been frequently shown, even in studies outside this presentation. But of course, social media is not actually inherently bad, but it is extremely, extremely important how you view your content, especially if you're an easily impressionable person like a teenager. So I say this because one study surveying physically active teens who use social media showed that the least negatively affected teens, quote, only compare themselves with fitfluencers whose appearance is somewhat attainable and not with extreme fitfluencers, end quote. So this here is an example of a correct mindset when engaging with this type of content on social media. Knowing what is versus is not realistically achievable is extremely important when you see all these crazily fit influencers popping up on your feed every single day. Furthermore, excessive social media use gives an impression of there being far more of these extreme people than there actually are. So the awareness I touched on about about knowing what is and what isn't realistic or common is very important and the key to all of this actually, because this awareness is necessary when viewing social media because it is easy to forget that you are seeing almost everything from a sort of upward facing lens, if you will. And what this means is that the viewer sees primarily the best of everybody. Not always, but enough to where this awareness is still clearly necessary. um, so changing an entire generation's mindset is a slow process, but the study I just cited is evidence that it is somewhat possible and can maybe happen. So to elaborate a little more and to conclude, we are in a unique place in history where we can see so many perfect people online. I say perfect in quotes, perfect people online so quickly. And this can either be a detriment or an opportunity, actually. I propose it as an opportunity because it may inspire young people to perhaps one day achieve this greatness that they see. However, it's very crucial that no one is fooled into this greatness being the standard because it's not. And if it's considered the standard, then that is where this opportunity ceases to be an opportunity and becomes a detriment. So, uh, social media can be an opportunity or a detriment. And with such a powerful tool in our hands, let us not make the wrong choice in deciding which it is. So, to ensure we spread this idea further, it's very important that we educate our youth to ensure that they know their worth does not at all, in any way, come from how they look. Rather, it comes from within, as cliche as that sounds. And thank you. That is all.